Week 2 of LCS has now been done, but there has been a lot of great games going on. C9 versus TL, TSM versus Golden Guardians and such, but there have been a lot more amazing matches that have been happening. But let's talk about what the certain descriptions and certain details of players have been going on, because there has been one match which is C9 versus TL that I have been looking at, which we will tell about in this topic of veteran versus rookie players, basically. So we're here in this League Lounge, episode 5. I'm here with Chris Sangha, or Sungja. I don't know how to pronounce
Sangha,
that.
yeah. Sangha,
Sangha.
that's it. Yes, sir.
This is your first time on the show. Also, it's episode 5 with new guests every single time, possibly, or repeating guests. But this is also probably this is definitely your first time. So introduce yourself to the audience here and what you do, what org you run, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm Chris Sangha. I run Friend or Foe Esports. It's like an amateur league. And what I do is I'm essentially an esports artist. I do esports design and production. That's me.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Do you have any like certain history with your organization and such or not?
Yeah, we started when national events occurred back in 2020. We all got bored and we're all just like, let's make a League of Legends league or whatever. And we've been doing it since then, so it's been about 2 years now. We've been doing this is going to be our fifth season coming up. It's been quite a journey. It's been a great time. Met a lot of really cool people. People like you. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's cool.
All right. So we're gonna be talking about, and like I said, I mentioned this before, the skill difference between veteran players versus rookie players. Now, have you been watching the LCS lately or no?
Uh, Give or take. I'm mostly the highlights. Yeah,
Okay, that's
mostly.
perfectly fine. So we're
Yeah.
here. We're gonna be talking about the players, the history of players versus the rookies that have been upcoming and making impact onto the LCS. So we're here to talk about veterans such as Bjergsen, Blabber, Bwipo, Impact, Fudge, and more of the others versus rookies such as Danny, Jojo Pyun, Tukuli, Berserker, Winsome, everyone else like that. So we're gonna be talking about them. But in your opinion, what do you think is gonna be the major difference between veterans and rookies? Because if you seen the matches so far, the fact that rookies have been making a outstanding like debut versus against the veteran players, and especially with C9 versus TL, like I mentioned, that game has been really close by, except that Bjergsen still came out top with Hansama and Ayla, along with Bwipo and Santorin. TL came out top against C9. So what do you think about there's a reason for being a skill difference between veterans and rookies?
I mean, the big thing is the obvious answer is experience, right? Like just time playing the game. Like veterans will just naturally know more experiences, know more scenarios than a rookie, right? It just comes with age. It just comes with playing the game more than the other person. But obviously that can correlate with many other different things. The big advantage of rookies is just the game has evolved over time, and sometimes I think habits from the past, habits from way long ago, from before, what say season 5, season 4. These players probably still have those bad habits, and that's why people on Reddit call them washed sometimes because they still kind of do those mistakes. Whereas people like JoJo, they don't do those mistakes because those mistakes sort of never existed in his brain because it's just so new to the game, or at least so new to the pro scene. So I think mostly experience, and if that experience actually hinders a person or not, I think is the big difference.
So the reason why I'm speaking about this is because I want to bring out a little bit of the past here. Because in
Okay.
C9 2020 Spring Split, there was Licorice, Blabber, Niski, Seven, and Vulcan. If you remember in 2020, that team, C9, that roster was super dominant. It came out in 17-1. Until in
Okay.
summer, Double Lift came back and joined up with Bjergsen and TSM, and TSM took down CN9 to take the third world spot in
Hmm.
2020. So there there's a difference between veterans and rookies and such, but because of C9, Spring Split didn't have double it before, and they took down TSM really well. C9, I mean that to 2020 C9, and they were on their first. Blabber was on his first year. Those considered were the rookies of that
Right.
LCS versus like a known team like TSM. But with that joining back, there's veterans on that too. So there could be a difference between experiences, like you said. But I'm wondering if you think there's gonna be a draft difference, or do you think there's also gonna be such things like um aggressive versus passive and all that too. Like, do you think there's gonna be a big factor in any of those, or do you think there's another factor that can totally like differentiate between veterans and
Sure.
rookies?
Sure. Well, I think I honestly don't even want to comment on draft because I think we're so early in the season that draft. I feel like I can't say draft diff all the time because I'm just either I don't know too much about like what's going on behind the scenes for
But
LCS coaches
what
right now.
about but what about Ivan mid and Soraka mid?
Okay, all right, right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna lead it to. And then, Church of LS, right? LS comes in and he's like, no, everything you guys understand is wrong. And suddenly he entertains this idea that like incorrect is correct, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but
That
incorrect
might-
is correct. Um, and because of that, I can't ever pinpoint a claim that like LS's drafts are just going to be god tier because of that, because it's so weird, right? Because it's like quote unquote untested, or maybe it is kind of tested now 'cause
Non-traditional, basically.
yeah, not traditional, right? Say LS does this for like a whole season, and then next season you ask me the same question, then I could be like, yeah, I mean LS is just going to draft gap these people. Right now I just don't know, but I think when it comes to the players, like LCS is just so entertaining right now because of all of these good teams and all these players spread out into such dynamic rosters that I cannot tell if it's going to be an aggressive thing or if it's going to be a passive thing, if it's going to be an experience thing or if it's a rookie thing. Like the rookie whole Bjergsen versus JoJo thing. Like, I mean, rookie mistakes happen sometimes, but like Bjergsen will make mistakes too, right? So it's kind of weird to comment on that. So yeah,
Even so, like when you look at Jojo Pion's first match at the lock-in, he actually
yeah,
made a really good first impression. They beat EG did beat TL in that group stage, so
yeah.
it actually does come in a factor where it's like um it could be a possible draft difference also, but also you said their experience. But I'm also wondering, like I said before, is there going to be a massive difference between how people are going to play like more aggressively or more passively to know that, hey, this person may be playing an aggressive champion because of their aggressive style. So I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
play a little more on the far side to make sure I play safe. But it's more of a like I have to trust in my teammates, like jungler for example, to actually like save the fight, save the team
Yeah.
fights, and then we can go actually in on that point. So that's why I'm wondering. It's like a mindset thing. But in your
I
opinion, oh yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I guarantee you. And maybe I don't know if players would ever admit, like pro players would ever admit this, but maybe they would if they were being over dramatic on Twitter. But I guarantee you that it's a huge mental thing to lane against Bjergsen, right? Like it has to be affecting JoJo's head somehow, just even a little bit, saying like I'm laning against Bjergsen, I'm laning against Bjergsen. That has to affect him in some way or another. Whereas someone like Bjergsen, who I mean, I don't know how big his ego is, but I imagine he understands that he's goated. Um, he can kind of feel comfortable, right? Jojo looked great day one, fantastic. Maybe he felt that, maybe he looked great because mentally he was just feeling hot because it's his first day, right? If he flops the rest of the season, we're not going to remember that first day.
Right.
We're not going to remember it. It's not going to happen. So now it's just a question of if Jojo actually can keep up that stamina, I guess. Clearly Bjergsen can. He's done it for so long. We don't know about Jojo, so let's see.
I mean,
And I think that's gonna be the big
in
difference.
other terms too, besides Jojo Pion, there's also Fudge too,
Yeah.
which he actually played really great on the top lane, but then in the mid lane, he obviously fell short on the session. But as soon as he started playing the Enchanter mids and all that too, he started playing more of a supportive role that actually worked in the style
Mhm.
against like Blabbers picking aggressive champions like Olaf and Jin Zhao and such, versus Berserker picking actual engaged like Jin. He played Jin pretty well, but a Philios, you you expect
Yeah, yeah.
that gun management on the second game against EG though when
So
you switch
beautiful.
guns, it was perfect. Like I have never thought Korean players would actually be very like good, but
Of course they are.
no, but I'm not saying like good as in like just good at all,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in good as in like holy crap, they are good,
It's
you know.
shocking. It's genuinely shocking.
And he's in T1 Challenger too,
Yeah.
Berserker, and there's a huge difference between LCS pro players versus T1 Challenger players, which is basically academy.
Hmm.
So in this case, how good would Gumiyoshi be if he actually joined LCS with C9 or something like that? How big would that be? Like that's gotta be like you guys really think about.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a difference of that in different regions too. Rather than in the LCS too, there's also gonna be like veterans versus rookies on that too. But at the massive cost of what's gonna be versus team versus team versus a region versus a region.
Right.
Like that's why I thought of it as like, holy crap! Like veteran players like such as Faker, such as Bjergsen, Double Lift, and all that too. They have been playing for so long, yet none of them could actually like. I'm gonna say this versus Faker versus Double Lift versus Faker versus Bjergsen. Faker still beats Bjergsen no matter what. I don't know why it still happens, but in this is in the past, by the way. In the
Sure.
past, but they both have history. But why do you think, like in your opinion, why do you think that Faker still beats Bjergsen to this day, even though it's LCK versus LCS kind of thing?
Well, those are. I guess I can split that up into two different answers, but to talk Bjergsen versus Faker, I mean, my personal honest opinion, team gap. Not gonna lie,
Team
like
Cap, okay.
sometimes I think there have been times I remember seeing times way back when where I genuinely felt like Bjergsen like is winning lane, is winning, but has not won lane, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then T1's just that good, right? And then they ended up winning, and TSM's never been able um to beat T1 with Bjergsen on TSM. Maybe with TL it might be different, but my personal opinion is it is a little bit of a team gap. I think Bjergsen can beat Faker. I think it's very possible. If you put them 1v1 against each other, like I would say like 5 times out of 10, it's very possible it's 50-50. In fact, we've seen them 1v1 before. It was kind of weird, but it was kind of I think it was like a CS thing that got Bjergsen the win. But as far as like LCS versus LCK, um, I watch mostly LCK over LCS, but but reading like LCK, like reading like Reddit through LCK and just like trying to catch up on everything. I really do think it becomes like a social dynamic in LCK
Right?
um
Because
versus LCS.
because
Yeah,
here's what I think, which will come to the next topic at least.
yeah,
It's because in LCS in the North American region, there's not really as much competitive competition in the solo queues versus the LCK. Because when I know
yeah,
LCK is a little more toxic, it's still very competitive versus the LCS. LCS is a more lenient, laid back, but
yeah,
at that point, there really is no competition in the LCS versus the LCK. Yes, like I said before, yes, there is huge negativity, the negativity levels in the set of Korea and China, but only because when you realize that the competition is so minimal, and because there's really like the I don't know how to explain this, but
mm,
there are like a lot of factors in that happens in the LCS versus the LCK, because LCK is basically South Korea, not North Korea anymore. It's just South Korea and China.
right, right.
China's different. China's split up into different like
Yeah,
sections. And anyways, it's not just China itself. It's just literally sectioned up in different stations. Where it's like Hong Kong, blah 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 blah, and
yeah,
that's what made them so competitive. And I feel like if LCS actually take hold of that, like to actually bring it to competition for solo queue, like in LCS alone, then I feel like NA will start being more better. And this is where I'm gonna put on the second topic here: the risk of smurf factor in lower elo. And because I
yeah,
want to state this, because many people who actually are living competitively ends up matchmaking against a player or against a certain like group that does not want to compete, like quote quote compete, and end up having lack of effort, inting AFK and all that too, and people are being
sure,
toxic. That's what get their accounts banned, and then they started making
yeah,
Smurf accounts. So I wrote this being I wrote this reason being that accounts are being banned due to toxicity of certain players, but due reason is being that matchmaking has not been balanced still, and that higher elo players starting at gold are now inting having lack of effort of playing, like I said, because of lack of competition and lack of like r- not competition, but lack of players basically, like they are willing to
yeah.
compete. So do you believe in that reason? Like this is my reasoning, but do you believe in that reasoning, or do you think there's more
Well,
to that?
yeah, I think I think there's definitely more to that. I think that's one of many reasons um, that that the competition in North America is sort of quote unquote under leveled. I think Champions Queue is a fantastic idea and has proven, I think, to be good. I don't know if you've been following that at all.
No, I did. Yeah, I know Champions
Yeah, yeah,
Queue.
yeah. I think that's a fantastic idea. Obviously, we'd have to see if it actually works because we're still early weeks. But on paper, that theoretically, yeah, should level up competition when you have pros play against pros, right? But as far as leveling up competition, say for, I guess, the general public, as in making it so that the average gold player in North America is as good as the average gold player in Korea, um, that starts to come into a lot of bigger, vaguer details, right? because I guess it depends on what you really want to achieve with competition.
Yeah.
Like if you want to say LCS has bad competition, is it because the players in there are bad, or is it because North America is bad? Like the players in general are bad.
I would say this
Um,
in my answer.
Mhm.
I think North America's bad. It's not the
okay,
players are bad, but North
okay,
America is just bad.
no, that's fine. Okay, so how do you achieve that, right? How can you even level up such a thing?
Right.
Uh, in Korea, right, or I guess even in Asian countries, it's very safe to say that like growing up, video games is very sort of adopted in culture, right?
Yeah.
It's very like socially acceptable to be that guy to play 16 hours a day,
Right.
growing up in high school, right? Um, in North America, at least, me growing up in high school, not so much,
Yeah, it's the
right?
opposite.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite. Maybe these days, gaming these days has sort of been a little bit more accepted, so it's sort of like understandable to try to attempt that path.
You're welcome. Oh
Um,
no, welcome COVID. Thank you, COVID.
yeah, right. Yeah. And which is just great for both the gaming community and the competitive community in
Yeah.
general, right? That just means people are playing more, people are dedicating more time
Right.
to doing that. And it could be a culture thing, 100%. It could be a culture thing to want to do that or to not want to do that. But the big thing is that in North America, it's not promoted at all to try to do that. We've heard about, you know, getting college scholarships to be able to play League of Legends at like UCI, right? Great idea, cool in theory. Only like a few handful of colleges are really going to do that. And the
Right.
reason why is because there's no money in esports at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just because it's so new, right? And that's not esports' fault. It's just how it works. The thing is, if you wanted to become a football pro
Yeah.
in high school,
Yeah.
that should feel the same as wanting to be a League of Legends pro.
Right.
In my opinion, that should feel that way. So if you wanted to be a football pro, you get a million resources from schools, from scholastic events, from community stuff. For online stuff, for video games, not so much, right? Online tournaments, cool, great. But then, in my opinion, that starts to go into scholastic esports, right? Which becomes a whole different topic on its own. But in my opinion, if you incorporate things like scholastic esports, scholastic collegiate esports, then that's how you get the younger generation that are growing up with these video games to be at a higher level and challenge these pros and start to take over the level
Right.
of
Exactly.
competition here.
Right.
Yeah. And that's going to take a long time. That's going to take a long time. I believe scholastic, like sports, like scholastic basketball didn't happen until like 1880,
Yeah.
right?
Obviously,
Um,
yeah. It
and
has to
and that's
develop.
only developed this far, like, because 200 years of development, right? So, you know?
You heard you heard the reference there, folks. 200
Yeah.
years.
200 years. 200 years. Yeah. That's
But
my opinion, though.
yeah. So I don't know if you know, there is an organization for collegiate esports, which is called CSL,
Right.
which
Yeah,
is
I've heard of that.
Collegiate Star League. And
Yeah.
well, I was first introduced to that when I first came to my community college,
Mhm.
for Vainglory. If you heard about Vainglory, guys, Vainglory is a dead game basically, but it used to be the most popular game in the world. A 3v3 mobile game like League of Legends 3v3,
Yeah.
and it was very popular. Everyone from my well, not everyone, but like some people from my college actually wanted to try competing, and I was one of them. And starring in the collegiate esports, it was so freaking hard. The fact that
Right.
we were facing against like pretty like tough opponents. But I learned so much from that because how much they showed me like how there's a difference between like me as a rookie and them as a veteran. So seeing how they play versus like in league, I feel like that's gonna be a little bit of the mental state of where it's like, am I gonna really make an effort to try to compete and try to improve from this matter? Even when I look at like academics and such, in terms of studying and all that too, I hated studying because I thought there was no like I
Yeah.
think there's no reward coming out for me until I realized that after I played Vainglory, that I realized it's not about just getting the end results. It's about development, and I realized I had to develop myself to get better at that. And getting better, I actually got better studying. So people who say video games are bad, I think you guys are mismanaging how video games are being as like set. But
Yeah.
I honestly think that in this case, I myself am a Smurf. I'm not gonna lie. I made Smurf accounts. I made Smurf accounts, But then,
I mean, everyone has.
yeah,
By
yeah,
the way.
basically, yeah.
Everyone
But
has. You're lying to yourself if you haven't
yeah,
done it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But the difference between me as a Smurf versus a person who just Smurfs because he just wants to is someone
Yeah.
who develops and versus someone who actually wants to help someone develop. I don't even care
Sure.
if I win or lose. To be honest, I don't even care if I just end up winning lane myself and we end up losing. As long we have a good match, everyone knows their stuff. But at the same time, everyone seems to like, oh, I'm not good at this champion. Like in the beginning, if someone says they're new and they end up sucking anyways, right? I would
Yeah.
not even be mad at them because I know they're new. But if they do all the basics, like say they know how to path, they know how to like work their abilities and such, because they have been practicing, then I
Mhm.
wouldn't be mad because it takes a lot of practice anyway. So I tell them, hey, it's okay as long as you know as long as you know your stuff, like you know the combinations. Like I will give you criticism and all that too, but at least in this point, if I just leave them be and I leave them be at that, and they actually know how to play on that point, then I wouldn't be mad at them. But if they just end up giving up at that point and saying, you know what,
Yeah.
because I don't like playing at this point because I'm just playing how it's supposed to be, then I will definitely be that person who just like punch him right in the face. Because I myself am a guy that is like very competitive, but it's more like I want to like train them to know that like I want to be better. I want to not be better. I want to be
Sure.
better, but I want them to be better than me.
Sure. Yeah.
Because even though I'm not the best, I'm better, and I could try to train them to be better than me. So
Yeah.
that's
I think there's a fine difference between like smurfing and coaching. You know.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
I feel like people are taking like lack of recognition for that because people are saying, "Oh, a Smurf is just someone who just wants to take on like the little guys," and I'm like, that's not even one side of it. Like that's literally just like 1/4. The other 3/4 is basically what Smurfs. Smurfs is basically helping you develop. The other Smurfs, the other second half of the Smurf is second fourth of the Smurf is just basically taking down little guys. Third Smurf is just basically, just because they want to int, and fourth one is just basically they don't care at all.
Mhm.
You agree with that, right? You agree with those four Smurfs basically?
I
The
mean, I think there's even more reasons, but yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
like I've heard my favorite reason that I've ever heard, because we run the tournament too with like lower elo, so like we run into this all the time. But my favorite like reasonable like excuse for having a smurf is you messed up your ten games. You messed up your 10 placements or
all
whatever.
right, right,
You know,
right.
yeah,
I
I've
remember.
heard that
Yeah.
a million times. I've heard that a million times from people.
Like
So
to be honest,
yeah,
people who say that, I respect them. To be honest,
yeah,
it
like whatever. Yeah, sure.
I because honestly, that's a Chad move. The fact that you lose one game in that 10 placement games, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm like, you know what?
Oh yeah.
You know what? Even though that's a bit toxic right there, that's a bit like a suspicious right there. You have my
Yeah.
respect, dude. You have my
Yeah.
respect. Unless you're
Yeah, I've
inting.
definitely I've met friends that like they if they mess up, if they don't go 10-0, they'll hop on another account and they'll mess it up and they'll keep hopping on another account. Whatever account they get 10-0 on, that's the account they use for the season.
Like not gonna lie though, if they inted on purpose just because of that, then I'll be like, dude,
Sure.
you're not invited to this league at all.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But overall, like I do. That's what I like, especially when I realize there's Smurf. Like there's a Smurf factor in a case of lower elo because no one wants to like match against the top players, and because they end up thinking, oh, I managed to get this far, but what if I end up sucking against? What if I end up getting matched against a pro player? Because
Right.
you seen before, Dime players have been matched against like grandmasters and like even so.
Yeah.
So that
I mean,
kind of
I think it depends on the person, right?
no, like I
If
said, in
yeah.
general. But in terms of like this, it's like a fear, it's like a fear factor in this case. Like saying, oh shoot,
Yeah, yeah.
what if I'm
Oh,
going
yeah,
against
yeah.
double lift and all that too? Like I don't want to end up sucking against them because I realize, oh shoot, it's double lift. I have to try my best, and then you still end up sucking. Like
Right.
that's the kind of thing is like people looking at it, it's like, dude, why are you sucking so bad? You're diamond. You should be able to play like that. That's the kind of mentality I always fear in terms of higher elo. Then that's why people smurf on lower elo because they feel more comfortable. They know the basics anyways. They know their strategies anyways against like newer players. And like I said, that's the kind of smurf where that person just looks down on the lower on the little guys and just stomps over them. And that's why
Yeah.
I don't like because of the fact that diamond players and higher just don't want to like compete. Like that's what I feel like that they don't want to do. They don't want to just compete, and they don't want to like prove themselves that they can be better in just one game to show that hey, maybe I do have a chance against double live or so. Like people always having a negative factor, and I'm like, yeah, that's part of life. You end up facing someone better than you, but you just don't give up. You just have to fight it. But even so, like it's like school and such, like where I if you don't try it, you're never gonna learn what's it gonna be. Like for example, my brother recommended me to try extermination, which I'm not good at because I had to memorize these kind of like chemical terms. And my weakest subject, science. I hated
Sure.
science. Like if anything like that, I have to learn chemicals and I have to learn like anything like equipment, all that too. I will like be crying in my bed because I hate like I have to learn all the chemicals and to like what be bad to not to take and all that too. I'll be like in so much anxiety right now. The only thing I will be good like that and good at is basically calculation and stuff. Basically, like I got a degree in film production, which is obviously what I'm
Oh, hey,
doing
me
right now.
too.
Yeah, hey, bro, yeah.
Hey, hell yeah.
But
Hell yeah. Unemployment. Heck yeah.
uh,
Just fast.
but
Yeah.
the thing is, there's many opportunities, small opportunities like streaming and such that actually help
Yeah.
you build said like career and such because at least with the streaming you're calculating your process and how you're calculating the process to see how much viewers you're gonna get or how much viewers you're getting anyways along with how much money you're gonna try to intake once you get like partnered or affiliate right on Twitch. So but even so I feel like people who don't like try to take effort as much like this is all coming back to like Smurf versus Smurf Factor and Elo, sorry. um
Good.
the fact that I don't like people not making effort on that too. How people are not playing League as it's supposed to be, not competitive, but smart. People are not playing as smart as it is. People are just trying to play hard and they're playing as competitive as possible, and they end up still losing. I just tell them you're not supposed to play competitive. You're supposed to play smart. That's where you get the greatest like player of all time. You because they're smart about it. Even
Right.
Faker, that's why I consider Faker as the best player because he's not playing hard. Yes, he is playing competitively at this point, but he's playing smart to the point where he's baiting the other person into the mental capacity that there is. That's what
Yeah.
that's what really respects. That's who I'm really expect a lot because of how much he uses he uses like these whole like I'm not gonna try using 1% of my brain, but in respect you might think so, but I'm gonna use 100% of my brain to just to bait you out like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of player, I would think so much as to think that will be the best player ever. Even if he's iron and he still plays like really good like that, I will recruit him no matter what because he plays smart. That's a point to where
Yeah.
it's like his skills not as good, but if I train him enough where he knows his mental capacity like that, then he actually improves up to like say gold or plat. You actually see the development that there is.
Yeah.
Or like again, do you agree with that or no? Yes, no.
I mean, yeah. Faker. I'm a Faker fan, dude. Heck yeah.
I mean, not a Faker fan, but just in general, a person who is playing smart at least versus a person who is playing like hard and competitively.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that's just the best way to improve in general, right? To just be mindful of specific things that you need to improve and study it. I agree with that.
Exactly.
There's some players that like to be all buttons, all hands, all fingers. They've
Yeah.
practiced their vein mechanics. Their thumbs have six packs. Like I've met those players, but they can't get too far just because they're not thinking too much.
Yeah. On a side point right there too. There's also pings like in communications. There's also you can actually type. There's also pings. There's also what else are there? Like what communications are there? I keep forgetting. There's also
I mean,
well, pings,
pretty much it.
emotes. There's also
You can say a lot
typing,
with things. Yeah.
but people don't use that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
people are not using ping so far, and not even the mini map. People always say, like the people who are really good, always say the mini map is the most important like communication.
Mhm.
Like people always,
Yeah, I mean, you can straight up like I think there's a video of like I forget which pro player, but a pro player like watching or playing a game with like an eye tracker, and like you can see like they're looking at the map like 80% of the game.
right? And
Yeah,
especially the mini map, you have everything on that point where you can pinpoint on what it is, as except just looking at your own lane, right? But
yeah,
then when you look at pro players like on LCS, LCK, LEC, LPF, blah blah blah, that some teams, they don't even look at the map. They just rely on their communication, and they actually look at their own lanes rather than look at the map. They actually use F4, F2, F3, F5 instead. Rather than looking at the map, that's how I know people are playing smart, because they actually not have trust in their teammates, but at the point they're actually having trust in their own too, to where it's like, I'm not gonna try to look at the map to see where my jungler is, because I know my jungler is gonna either get me or them because of the communication or the pings. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna focus on what my situation is, and if he can manage to jump in time with this ping, then I'm gonna just go with it on his own, and that's like a big trust factor going in between the synergy. And that's what I feel like I said, there's a difference between the smurf factor and lower elo versus a high elo, and that's why I feel like something like that could differentiate between a rookie and a veteran player. I guess I'm going way back into this because of how much the trust factor is in there.
Yeah.
And
Agree with you.
and basically I just don't like rookies in general. But if they left a first impression like that, like Jojo Pion, what Jojo Pion did, then I'm okay with that, because he left the first impression to where he actually trusts his team, like to EG to the win against DL on lock-in. Then they have a really good like formation going on there, like the team itself. If they end up like giving up on that point, like I don't get why you're giving up. Like you could literally just keep going, even if you don't make it to third or fourth. Maybe like, no, actually no, fourth will be at least for EG. But if you actually make it below it, then there's something wrong with your communication, and that you probably shouldn't like split, but you should probably focus on what seems to be the problem there. That's why I feel like there's like I said, the big trust factor, and why people are smurfing, because of the fact that they're just not using their brain a lot. They're just giving up on that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree
So
with you.
yeah. So basically, that's why we always bring out these kind of these kind of shows, because we want to talk about more on the theories and be based more like controversials, controversies.
Controversies.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Yeah,
English
basically.
is a fantastic language.
Yeah, but yeah, you get what I mean. So basically, we talk about these
Yeah.
kind of situations where even the outplay can an outplay, even the outest thing, outest as in like even the most like surface topic can really deem into something deeper into details.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's literally what I'm. This is literally what we're discussing about in this term. Now we get out to the fun one, the fun day topics, of which we always
Okay.
do at the end of the episode here. The funny topic is, oh god, I picked this one because I knew that in this case, with your personality, as soon as I heard your voice and your personality, I could feel it.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
gonna
no.
like this one.
Okay.
This funny topic is the hottest girl champ in league so far, including Renata.
Oh. Oh, dude. Oh man. Let me open up tier list maker. I'm just kidding. I mean, you know what? All women are beautiful, my friends. They all look fantastic.
Hey! We're not talking about real life. This is league. We're talking about league. No offense to the no offense to the girls, but this is league now. So girls, you're not really being you're not getting offended here. This is actually on gamer. This is actually on like girls in games. Wait.
Yeah.
I said it right. I said it wrong.
Yeah.
This is girl characters in games.
Digging yourself a big hole here.
But yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Nunu's pretty hot. I like Nunu. I don't know.
Are you kidding me, dude?
I think you know, I've always been in love with the Hextech Janna skin. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about.
Hold on, I gotta look it up on my phone.
Yeah, look it up. Look it up real fast. Incognito mode too. I'm just kidding.
Hextech Janna?
Yeah, Hextech Janna. I think that's the name of the skin. Yeah. It's like really old skin, but it's like
really?
Skin, man. Yeah.
You like Hextech Janna? I'm seeing the skin right now, but really?
Are you judging my tastes, man? Like this was my question. This is my interview.
No, I get it, but
Janna.
no,
Hextech Janna, yo.
But I'm looking at it right now, and I'll probably you know what? I'm gonna show it right now. I'm gonna show it on the stream right now.
Pop it on the stream. Yeah.
But this is basic. Like, what the heck? This is a basic skin.
What do you mean basic skins, dude? Hextech Janna is my girlfriend.
Yes, Janna is everyone that we deem and admire so much, but this one, mm,
Oh my god. All right, change the question. Give me a different question then. Change the question.
no, this is the only one I got. This is the only one I
Yeah,
got.
yeah, yeah. No, that's good.
No, I'm just joking. I'm
Final
playing.
answer. Final answer. Hextech Jana.
Okay, here it is, guys. Are you ready, guys? This is. Oh, wait, let me crop this a little bit too.
This Hextech Jana, man.
Hang on, let me crop this because I want to make sure everyone sees that this is what he likes a lot. No. Okay, this kind of works. So I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it. If you're watching stream, everyone, I'm gonna put it right here. And Chris, if you're watching the stream also, here it is. This is Hextech Jana, guys.
It's my girlfriend. It's Hextech Jana, dude.
But
For
yeah.
$2.99, she'll leave you breathless, dude.
All right. Okay, that's Hextech. That's Hextech Jana, guys. But my personal favorite is you can.
Yeah.
I have two.
Okay.
So if you have another one, you can just jump right in. But if I have two, which is Samira or Seraphine.
Samira, Seraphine. Sure.
Samira.
Damn, a little bit of a gunslinger and a little bit of a K-pop fan. I feel you.
Well, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Not gonna lie. I do like me a singer
you like you a singer, sure.
because I do sing some songs.
Oh yeah,
not
you
on YouTube.
karaoke, bro.
Yeah,
You
but
karaoke, hell yeah.
but I like Samira mainly because she's very like stubborn, like risky.
Mm.
But at the point she has tattoos. Not saying like tattoos are bad or
Oh,
good or anything
sure.
like that. But I just seeing a girl with tattoos. It just makes me feel like, dude, she's so like tough or something like that. You know?
Sure. Yeah, I like tattoos. I'm with you.
Yeah, but
I'm
either
with you on the tattoos.
either Samira or Seraphine because I mained those champions before.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
man. I don't know who my second one would be. I'd probably just pick Hextech Jana. I'm faithful.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm faithful, bro.
All right. All right. I was gonna say, like this again. Most of the times, most of the when we were discussing stuff like the fact that our shows usually take about an hour or so, but this also has
Mhm.
been another short episode and such. But
Oh, sorry, I could have talked more. My bad.
no, no, it's fine, it's fine.
My
This was like, to be honest, it was short and concise, but it was actually pretty like enjoyable because
Okay.
you've been making fun of like a lot of stuff too. So I'm like, oh, okay, we'll put that in, we'll put it in the show too.
Yeah, it's my type of humor. Sometimes it's kind of rude, but yeah, I just make fun of it.
But that's what
Yeah,
makes
man.
League Lounge, bro.
True. Heck yeah, man. I'm glad I could be here. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anything you want to shout out though to the audience here, so that people know like what you're doing for the org
Yeah,
and such. Yeah.
sure. Yeah, you can check us out at fofesports.com. FOF Esports. It's a great time. Yeah, I'm an esports designer, so I'm also by hire. You can find me on Twitter at Chris V Sunga. Yeah. We're starting a season soon. It's gonna be a great time. Watch us on Twitch. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All
Yeah.
right. So again, I'm still laughing at Hextech Jenna, bro.
Stop judging my Hextech Jana thing, dude. Like, move on. End the interview, yo.
all right. But yeah, thank you, Chris Sunga, for joining us. And again, that's
Very
episode 5, guys. That is League Lounge episode 5. And again, we're talking about the veteran players versus the rookie players, of the skill differences and such. First, and also the smurf factor of the lower elos and such. But don't forget, there's still more theories to come. There's still more like ideas to think about. In this case, more topics to bring up. And with that in mind, week 3 LCS is coming up on this weekend. Also, I think it's a super week, right?
Ooh, I don't know. Is it?
I'm not sure, but
Okay.
I don't know how to tell between the super week or not. But
You know what? I'm sure I know the answer to this as I check. I don't think it's a super week, no. I think it's just normal week.
super weeks include Fridays, right? Because they only do Saturdays and Sundays. So I'm assuming it's I'm assuming super week is Fridays.
Look, man. I'm not sure, not gonna lie here. No, it doesn't look like it. No, it doesn't look like there's a super week this week.
All right, then that whatever it is, I thought it's gonna be a super week, but still, week 3 of LCS, we're gonna see on who they're facing against and what Church 9 will face against also. But even so, this is the League Lounge episode 5. We will see you next week or possibly soon. See ya, guys.
Thank you so much.